Hey everyone, how's it going? Hassan here, and I wanted to do another Ranger vlog because a bunch of people have actually asked me to sort of give my thoughts on Super Megaforce as it airs, if you will. And I may not do, vlogs for every episode of the show, but at least throughout the show I'll kind of talk about stuff. And, I've had time to sort of digest the premiere of Super Megaforce a bit more. Episode 2 has already aired, Earth Fights Back. Episode 3 is coming up this Saturday. But briefly, some thoughts on that. I'm trying to also refresh my memory because it's been a few days. So I have megaforcecast.com up here, and I'm looking at their little episode synopsis to refresh my memory on some things. So check that out. Great site by Ranger Crew, megaforcecast.com. And Earth Fights Back, I really enjoyed it. So far, Super Megaforce for me has been pretty good. It's had its moments. Obviously there's certain things that I would love for them to explain a lot more. For example, I mentioned in the premiere, the fact that they randomly got these powers, like Gosei had sort of been sitting on these powers all this time. I mean, like, seriously, that's why he's been dubbed Trollsei. So by the Ranger Command Power Hour podcast, so check that podcast out, pretty sweet. I would have liked more explanations on certain things, especially one thing in particular about the second episode that I'll talk about in just a second. But overall, still, despite that, I really enjoyed it. This episode was pretty packed with the kind of a translation of the Sentai with the missiles and all that stuff, but they kind of obviously changed things up. And there's a bunch of original footage, actually quite a bit of original footage. I mean, there's some unmorphed fight scenes, which I love, so that was great seeing. And because of the fact that the Super Megaforce team is sort of a power-up, Super Mega Mode's a power-up for the Megaforce team, we got to see the Megaforce Rangers fighting, some of the a bit more in this episode, and that's really cool. So to get more original footage is definitely, is a plus. So I enjoyed that, and I thought they did that well. And then obviously when they got there, the Delta Runner as a Zord for Super Megaforce, I thought that was pretty sweet as well. So not much really different there from the Sentai, but I thought it overall worked well. So far, no big complaints there. But obviously the big controversial topic of the second episode is the fact that they used the Dairanger suits, and Gosei referenced that, and he said that these are powers from another planet, that have never been seen before on this planet, I guess, is what he said. And it's caused a lot of controversy. There's some people that are like, yeah, whatever, and there's some people that are like raging about this. They're just going crazy about this. And to me, would I have liked more of an explanation or even a name for the team? Sure, I would have liked it. But I don't mind it necessarily because the Dairanger suits are sort of the one exception. To me, it's almost like a nod to like the fans of Power Rangers, the older fans that know what the Dairanger suits are. It's almost like a bit of a nod to that. It was a very lazily done nod, and there was not much of an explanation, but it was still something, for us, I guess. So I mean, I thought that was kind of interesting. Now, if they were to actually use any of the pre-Zyu Ranger teams, right, the Pre-Zyu teams, like in the Legendary Battle or something, then I'd have a problem with that. I'm not saying, you're going to see little glimpses of some of them in the background of some battles, that's whatever. But like if they actually mention something like you're joined with Rangers from all across the universe or something, that's going to kind of annoy me, because then it's like, then you have so many different Rangers that like, who are these people? Give me more information. That's going to be kind of weird. But one team is not a big deal to me, especially because Dairanger is... we've already used Dairanger footage, so it's like we've already used a lot of this footage, so why not just use those suits finally in the show? I just would have liked a bit more of an explanation on it, but I'm not like one of those people that's raging about it. Overall, I thought it was interesting. Let's put it that way. If they were to include pre-Zyu teams, I'd be kind of annoyed, but regardless, I'm not going to be going around, like knocking down magazine racks and turning tables upside down and going crazy. Like, I mean, it's It's just Power Rangers. I mean, seriously, calm down, people. Yeah, so as far as what we're going to call them, I think Power Rangers New Powers is great. I mean, it's perfect. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's awesome. Power Rangers New Powers. That's what I'm going with. So until there's anything more official, which there probably won't be. So, yeah, that's kind of funny, actually, because it's like every time they do the keys, they always have the season name, but this time it was just Gia saying, bring on the new powers. So it's like, all right, so they're Power Rangers, bring on the new powers? What? But that was, I don't know, that was kind of funny. So yeah, there's that. The next episode, at least on the preview clip, looks pretty much straight from the Sentai, but that's not really necessarily a bad thing. Like I've said it, I think I've said it in a previous vlog, maybe I did, or maybe not. To me, an adaptation of a show doesn't necessarily, it's not, the quality of it is not determined by how much you copy from the source material or how much you change. Something that is completely 100% Sentai may be great or it may be terrible. Same thing goes for something completely original. Maybe great, maybe terrible. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the smart usage of that footage. And there's been moments that the Power Rangers the crew, the writers and everybody have come up with interesting things. Like, for example, in the premiere, how they said that using the Legendary Ranger mode kind of uses up a lot of energy, so that's why they're constantly switching between Rangers. I thought that was a very clever way of dealing with the footage, and it kind of makes sense, I guess. You're using these past Ranger powers, it might uses up a lot of energy. That's something cool. But then you throw in stuff like you have these powers that show up out of nowhere. Like, come on, you got to have an explanation, So it's like there's a give and take there. So an adaptation, to me, what makes Power Rangers good is just making the show itself good. Like, it has nothing to do with the Sentai. Regardless of how much or how little Sentai footage they use, Power Rangers can be great or terrible. It's just a matter of how they actually write the show and how competent they are with that. So that's kind of what I think there. And where am I going with this? I feel like I went off on a tangent. Oh yeah, that's right, preview clip. So the next episode preview clip was basically all straight from Sentai, but who knows how the actual episode would be. And I thought the preview clip was good. I didn't. There's nothing bad about it that I thought. What is going to be interesting is that it's the first episode that Jason Smith is writing, and he plays, for those that don't know, Casey in Power Rangers Jungle Fury, the Red Ranger. So he's written a couple episodes on the show, so I'm very excited to see, how he does on the show. Now, obviously, he may have written stuff, and then you're going to have, I don't know, other writers or the producers or, Jonathan Zacher, he might be kind of dealing with stuff and he might change things up and mess things up or something, who knows. So it's not going to be completely from Jason Smith, but at least he had a hand in working on the episode, which I think is really cool. I think to actually be one of the Power Rangers, and he's a Sentai fan too. He watches the Sentai, so he is definitely a fan, and I think he has a good background in that, so I think that'll be interesting to see what his episodes are like. So I'm excited for it. Should be interesting. So yeah, so there's that. And the one other thing I wanted to mention was the recent trademark for Power Rangers Dino Supercharge. So for those that know, Power Rangers Dino Charge is next year's season, right? And so far it's sort of been, we had Power Rangers Samurai and then Super Samurai. Megaforce, Super Megaforce. So people were like, after Dino Charge, please don't do Super Dino Charge. And then you have Saban Brands trolling us here. They're like, we want to use Super in the name. How can we do it? Well, you know what? Everybody is complaining. They don't want Super Dino Charge. What can we do? Not Super Dino Charge, but what if Dino Supercharge? Hey! So it's like, really? Do you really have to use the word super? Really? But, I kind of like it a little bit better. I mean, if they had used Super Dino Charge, I would have been like, come on, that's annoying. But Dino Supercharge is a little bit different, and Supercharge kind of makes sense, because something's supercharged rather than Super Megaforce. That's like, what? But, so at least it kind of makes a bit more sense, in terms of a name. But definitely, I think they could have done something better, but whatever. Anyway, so that's another thing that, people have been going crazy about, and some people are just like, oh, this show sucks and blah blah blah. And I think there's at least somebody I saw that was making comments stuff like they should just like cancel the show, and they should or somebody says something like we should stop watching, or I don't even know. Like people are like tempted to just like completely quit, which I think is absolutely a terrible idea, because people are under this assumption that by us not supporting the show, like people not supporting the show, that the show will get canceled, or rather not canceled, but like the show will then make changes. There's basically two main things that I can think of that's wrong with that kind of logic. The first is that if the fans of the show stop watching, well, first of all, it's not really geared towards us, it's geared towards kids. So as long as the kids are watching, that's kind of the main thing that's going to keep Saban brands happy. But also regarding that, the toy sales is mainly what keeps the show going. It doesn't really get the best ratings regardless, you know? So it's really the toy sales that have kept Power Rangers going. So the idea of like not watching the show or not supporting the show is supposed to help it somehow? No. And if anything, and my second point is, if we were to somehow, if a lot of people stop watching it, that's probably not going to make any changes to the show. What that's going to happen is the show is going to get canceled. And because they're going to be like, well, nobody cares about the show, and they're just going to cancel it. So to me, it's sort of like, support the show, but feel free to express your thoughts, you express your criticism in a constructive way. You know, going about trying to like boycott this and that, and how they've screwed this up and ruined that, that's not going to help anything. Like, you know, seriously, if you try and just stop supporting the show's not just going to die out. And actually somebody, I think, even made a comment that I saw that was something like, RPM should have been the last season of Power Rangers. It's like, why? There's been plenty of good stuff since RPM. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was probably not the best, but there's still been some good stuff. The toys have been awesome lately. Bandai of America has really been doing an awesome job with the toys lately. So props to them on that. And and there's kids love the show. Like, I've seen kids they love to, talk about samurai and everything. They're all into it. My little cousins, whenever they kind of visit and stuff, they would used to watch the show, and they knew, the Rangers, the samurai team and everything. And they love the Megaforce team. They love the cards, and they played the card game with me and everything. Like, kids love the show. And that's, to me, what's important about Power Rangers is the fact that, I remember myself growing up with the show, and I remember how it made me feel and what I learned from it. And to see that being supported by people, young, like little kids growing up now, a new generation, that's awesome to me. I mean, we may have our complaints about the show, and obviously the writers can definitely do a better job on certain things. Yeah, for sure, I agree. But at the same time, it brings this huge smile to my face to see these kids growing up on the show and loving it. There's a video that Raz posted a couple days ago, I think, of this kid that was showing off all of his samurai toys, and he was showing it with such enthusiasm. He knew how to, like combine the spin sword with the bullzuka and this and that. He was all dressed up, and he was so, like, he seemed like he was so happy, and he was just loving, Jaden, the Red Samurai Ranger, and he was just so excited about everything. And it's like, it's those kinds of things that really make me realize what Power Rangers is all about. And if more people realize that, I think things would be a lot, better. But it's like, people need to chill, like, there's lots of great stuff about the show right now. The show, the fact that, Nickelodeon is really not treating the show that well. But at the same time, the show, the fact that it's still around is awesome. I mean, I remember when Power Rangers was being canceled, everybody was like so upset. Everybody wanted more Power Rangers. And, then now people say, well, we didn't want this Power Rangers. Well, I mean, you're here like nitpicking these things. Like, do you realize what you're saying? You're saying that you want like the Power Rangers of the past or nothing else. But the Power Rangers of the past may or may not appeal to the kids of today. And it just boggles my mind sometimes when people really don't think about what's important for the show. And yeah, I mean, I think whatever happens with the rest of Super Megaforce, with Dino Charge, with Dino Supercharge, and whatever else comes, as Ranger Crew called it, Power Rangers Train Wreck and Super Train Wreck after that for Tokuger. That was funny. Whatever happens, the fact that Power Rangers is still on is absolutely amazing to me. And it's something that, like, just knowing that every season, people have to understand this, every season is the start of Power Rangers for somebody. You know, some people grew up on Mighty Morphin, plenty of people did, right? But some people grew up on In Space or Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, Wild Force, etc. Every season was a first for somebody. And to some people, they may love that, but, you know, other people may not. But, like, the thing is, everybody has their own opinions, and just trying to, like, stop supporting a show because, you know, you don't like some bits about it or something. You have to understand what's important for the show, and that is, to me, the adult fans, in my opinion, or at least for what I try and do, is I want the show to be successful, and that doesn't necessarily, you know, have to do with, like, the quality of the writing, although that would be great. But as long as people are aware of the show, people are buying the toys, and the show continues, to me, that's what just makes me happy, because that means more people of a new generation can experience the show. And I love that, because I grew up on it, and I want kids to be able to grow up on it just like I did. And so that, to me, is the coolest thing. So anyways, this went on for quite some time, but I kind of had a bit of a rant, I guess you could say. So this was kind of a long Ranger vlog, so I apologize for that. But please let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about Super Megaforce so far. Let me know what you think about the whole Dino Supercharge supposed name. That's not confirmed by any means. Don't go saying it's confirmed. It's just a trademark, and they may or may not use it. They did have Ultra Megaforce as a trademark, but also Super Megaforce. They decided to go with Super Megaforce, obviously. So you don't know what they're going to go with, but it's a possibility. And let me know, you know, your thoughts on just the show in general, and kind of, you know, what you think about supporting it and all that. So obviously I will continue to support it no matter what it is. I've watched the show for over 20 years now through all the ups and downs, and I don't think I will ever stop. As long as the show continues airing, I will continue watching. Because it's something that, like, was very important to me growing up and still is, and I want to be able to continue to support that, so that other people can have that similar experience as well. So that's it. So thank you all for watching, and let me know again in the comments below what you think. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I have lots more reviews on the way. I know things have been really busy, and trying to look for a car, or just a bunch of stuff going on that's kept me busy from posting more reviews, but they are coming very soon, so stay tuned. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys later.